Hey y'all, and welcome to today's video. This is a much requested video. I think it was in a grocery haul where I mentioned that we were going to be pickling some vegetables, some squash, I think is what I had mentioned, and there was interest in seeing how we do that, how we do our pickling around here. So that's what you're going to get to see in today's video. Now we are going to be using kind of a basic brine. It's what my mama did. It's how she taught me. It's how we do things. And we use that basic brine to pickle almost everything. So today you're going to see us doing pickled squash and pickled eggs, but we also use it on cucumbers. We use it on green beans. We use it on peppers. Somebody had mentioned pickled cauliflower, and I have never tried that. I'm going to do a little research and look into that. That's something I've never tried, but it sounded interesting. So you're going to see that basic brine. You can take it and be creative with it. Today we're pickling squash and eggs. We're going to make that brine. We're going to put our seasonings in our jar. You can get, as long as you've got that brine right, you can get creative with your seasonings, and I'll show you all that in this video. We're going to be going back in time. We've already done this, and I'm filming my intro for it now. They turned out great. You're also going to see that we water bath can these items. That's how we do our pickled things. You're going to see me water bath those pickled eggs. And I was going to do a little bit of rebel canning, and I was going to put those pickled eggs on the shelf. Technically, you're not supposed to do that, but I know a lot of people who do, and so I thought, you know what? I'm going to water bath my pickled eggs, and I'm going to put them on the shelf if they seal. And they did seal, and I stuck them on the shelf, and then I got nervous about it, and I put them in the refrigerator. Pickled eggs, we've always put them in the refrigerator. They stay good in the refrigerator for 6 to 8 months. And so, yeah, I was going to be brave and put them on the shelf. We put them in the refrigerator. Technically, home pickled eggs are not shelf stable. You take that for what you want. We did water bath can the squash. We do that with our cucumbers, our peppers, our green beans that are pickled, and they stay on the shelf. So that's what you're going to see today. That's a little bit of an introduction for you. Let's go ahead and get into the video, show you how it's done, and then I'll catch back up with you when we're done. To get started, we're going to clean our jars. We're going to clean all of our flats and all of our rings, and then we'll get them sterilizing. Right now I'm just washing them in some warm soapy water. I'll rinse them real well. To sterilize my jars, I put them on something that I can get them in and out of the oven pretty easy on. And I put it on 250. I stick them in there while I'm getting everything ready, at least 15 or 20 minutes, and they'll be sterilized. The rings and flats are in a pot on the stove getting hot. You'll see that in a second. We're going to go ahead and boil our eggs. This is a good time to get our eggs boiling. And then you'll see Justin cutting up some of our other ingredients that we decided we wanted to stick in our jars. Some onion and some jalapeno. We put those in a few jars. They're also delicious to eat pickled, and they add really good flavor to whatever you're putting them in the jar with. He's just slicing the onion into half rings. You can do it however you want though, and then you'll see him chop up the jalapeno as well. We're leaving the seeds in it because we want what we're putting this in to be a little bit spicy. Like I mentioned, you can get creative with whatever spices and flavorings that you want. We put it directly in the jar, and you'll see us do a mix of all these different things and try different combinations in different jars. But we've got some red pepper flakes, some dried dill, pickling spice, minced garlic, the onion and jalapeno that Justin cut up, and some sugar. Justin does not like sugar in his pickled things, but we did put it in a couple of the jars, more so for the kids, jars that were not spicy. There's our eggs. They've been boiling for 5 minutes. Now we're going to put the lid on them, move them off of the heat, and let them sit for another 15 minutes before we peel them. We went ahead and worked on our squash while our eggs were sitting there. We got it all chopped up. You'll see there's a couple of smaller squash that we left whole in there. You do want to make sure you cut the blossom end off though, because it has enzymes in it that will make your pickles soggy. So we got some mixes of spices in there and our squash. We have that packed pretty tight. And here's the brine I was telling you about. So you're going to do equal parts vinegar and water. And for every cup of vinegar, you're going to put 1 tablespoon of salt. So we have 4 cups of white vinegar, 4 cups of water, and 4 tablespoons of kosher salt. You could also use pickling salt or sea salt, but you want to stay away from iodized salt. We brought that up to a boil and then cut it off and just got it back where it was warm. I turned it really, really low and just kept it warm. All the salt is dissolved and everything is warm and ready to go into the jars. That is your basic brine. As long as you do that, you can put your seasonings, your vegetables, get creative with what's in your jars. You're going to see a clip here now of those rings and flats. I know some people don't do this anymore. I still boil my rings and flats and keep them hot until we put them on the jars. Okay, once you've got your vegetables or your eggs, whatever you're using, packed into your jars, we're going to start putting the brine in, and we want to leave about a 1/2 inch headspace at the top. Something that we didn't do here that we have tried since, and I don't know how well it's going to work yet. We haven't opened any of the pickles that we did this way, but we've tried something called Pickle Crisp. I will insert a picture so you can see what it looks like. And we just put 1/8 of a teaspoon of that over the top of the vegetables before we start putting the brine in. It's supposed to keep things crisper. Don't know yet, but we didn't do that here on these, but I wanted to let you know that is something new that we're trying. There's Audrey getting our eggs ready. Here are the jars where we put the sugar in. So we put a tablespoon of sugar in the jar, a little bit of that brine, swirled it around to dissolve the sugar. So if you want to use sugar, that's how we do it, because we don't put it in our brine. We don't put it in all of our pickled things. There's some of the eggs that we're working on. There's another jar of squash that we're working on. A little tip for you, it is hard to get the air bubbles out of pickled eggs, but you can kind of tap them on the counter and there you see some of those air bubbles popping up to the top. Here's everything ready to go in the water bath canner. Like I said, there's some of those eggs. We did water bath them. They did seal, but we ended up putting them in the refrigerator. The pickled squash is sitting on the shelf. Everything's sealed. So for water bathing, what you want to do is, I have a water bath canner, something that's designed for this, but y'all saw me water bath things in the past just in a deep pot. What you want is to be able to cover the top of your jars with 1 to 2 inches of water. I shoot for about 1 inch. See there, you can tell that the top of the jar is covered with about 1 inch of water. That's what you want. We're going to bring this to a boil, and as soon as it starts boiling, we're going to time it for 15 minutes. You do want to look at altitude. If you're at a higher altitude, you may have to adjust that a little bit, but for us, 15 minutes. Here they are when they came out of the water bath canner. They had not sealed here yet, but you'll be able to tell if they seal when that little button on the top suctions down. It makes a little popping sound. That larger jar of pickled eggs, I did go ahead and put straight in the fridge. I didn't water bath those. I had no plan on it, but all those pickled eggs are in the refrigerator now. And that is how we pickle things around here. Pickled squash, pickled eggs. Like I said, we use that same brine to pickle a lot of things. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you found it enjoyable. Y'all, get creative with it. And if you're new to canning, maybe a pressure canner is still pretty intimidating to you, this is a great way to get started. Pickling things is a great way to get started. Using a water bath canner, looking up recipes that can be water bathed, great way to get started. And even if you're a seasoned canner, this is still so fun. I love pickling things. I love eating pickled things. My kids love eating pickled things. I can get them to eat just about anything as long as it's pickled. So we love doing this around here, and I hope that we inspired you a little bit to do the same. If you're new and you haven't subscribed already, we would love to have you hit that red subscribe button down below before you leave. Join our crew. We do this kind of content around here on a regular basis, and we would love to have you as part of the family. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.